My world was catalogued, cross-referenced, and blissfully, wonderfully quiet. I'm a librarian. Not the old lady with the bun and sensible shoes kind. I'm 31, I wear well-fitting sweaters, and I run the main branch of the city library with the kind of ruthless, silent efficiency that would make a drill sergeant proud. My world has rules. My world has order. My world, above all, has a decibel level. And that level is whisper. The library, for me, wasn't just a job. It was a sanctuary. After a relationship with a guy who was all impulse, drama, and chaotic energy, a guy who had left my life and my bank account in a smoking crater, I had rebuilt my world on a foundation of absolute, glorious predictability. Then the city council, in its infinite wisdom, decided our main atrium, a 3-story, echo-prone, beautifully blank white wall, needed a mural. And they hired a hurricane to paint it. His name was Run. Just Run. He didn't arrive with a portfolio. He arrived with a skateboard under one arm, a pair of paint-splattered headphones around his neck, and a grin that was both charming and, to me, deeply alarming. He was all restless energy, a whirlwind of dark curls, bright paint on his jeans, and an it's all good, man, attitude that was a direct assault on my nervous system. "This space is sick," he said, spinning in a slow circle in the atrium, his voice echoing up to the glass ceiling. "The light? Insane." I was already on edge. "This is a quiet zone, mister." "Just run," he said, flashing that grin. "Don't worry, man, I'll be like a ninja." Run was not a ninja. A ninja does not bring a 6-foot scaffolding rig that clangs every time it's moved. A ninja does not bring a giant, old-school boombox. A ninja does not, for the love of God, work to a soundtrack of what sounded like 90s hip-hop. "The music," I said, marching over to him on his first day, my voice a tight, controlled whisper. "It is distracting. To our patrons." Ren popped his headphones down. "What? Oh, the music? It's part of the process, Simon. You can't create in a vacuum. It's sterile." "This is a library," I hissed. "It is, by definition, sterile. That's the entire point." He just looked at me, a flicker of amusement in his bright, hazel eyes. "You're really wound tight, aren't you? Relax. I'll keep it low." He didn't. And because the library's insurance policy required a staff member to be present whenever an outside contractor was in the building, and because Run was an artist who worked when inspiration hits, I was the one who had to stay late. Every single night, our dynamic was set. I'd sit at the main circulation desk, trying to finish my ordering spreadsheets while he worked. He'd be up on his scaffolding, a silhouette against the massive, bright white wall, his body moving with a strange, fluid grace. He'd spray and paint, and step back and dance a little, and then attack the wall again. It was annoying. It was loud. And if I was being honest with myself in a deep, dark place I never visited, it was also kind of mesmerizing. I started watching him. I'd pretend to be cataloging, but I'd be watching the way he'd bite his lower lip in concentration, or the way he'd run a paint-streaked hand through his messy hair. The mural was slowly taking shape. It wasn't just a graffiti tag. It was a sprawling, intricate tree, its roots digging into imaginary earth, its branches exploding upward in a riot of impossible, vibrant colors. We'd have these brief, tense ceasefires. "You want a coffee?" he'd call down around midnight, holding up a thermos. "No, thank you. I have my tea," I'd say, holding up my perfectly steeped, precisely timed Earl Grey. "Suit yourself, man." He was chaos. He was paint fumes and loud music, and a complete disregard for my carefully constructed piece. And yet, the library felt different with him in it. It felt alive. The breaking point came about 2 weeks in. Ren was in a flow state, a term he used that I translated as manic episode. He was on a deadline. He'd been working for 12 hours straight. I'd been there since 8 a.m. It was now almost 2 in the morning. I was exhausted. My eyes were burning, my spreadsheets were swimming, and the quiet hiss of his aerosol cans was the most irritating sound on earth. "Run," I called out, my voice raspy with fatigue. "We have to lock up. I have to go home." He didn't even turn around. He was just a shape on the scaffolding, lost in his work. "5 more minutes, Simon. I'm almost there. This section is just, it's almost right." I knew, with absolute certainty, that it would not be 5 minutes. I put my head down on the cool, smooth surface of the circulation desk. Just for a second. When I woke up, it was to silence. The music was off. The hissing had stopped. My neck was stiff, and a line of drool was drying on my cheek. The atrium was dark, lit only by the low-level security lights. I looked at the clock. 4:17 a.m. I had been asleep for over 2 hours. Oh God, I mumbled, sitting up, my heart pounding with panic. I'd fallen asleep. On the job. I looked around wildly. The scaffolding was empty. Ren was gone. He just left. I whispered, a new, strange kind of disappointment mixing with the panic. He'd just packed up and left me here? I stood up, my back cracking in protest. And that's when I saw him. He hadn't left. In the corner of the atrium, near his staging area, Run had created a little den. A nest. It was a pile of paint-splattered tarps, his boombox, a cooler, and an old, lumpy beanbag chair that had seen better decades. And he was fast asleep in it, his mouth open, his headphones still around his neck. He looked young. And completely, utterly spent. He'd finished. The wall was done. The mural was breathtaking. It was a riot of life and color, a massive, vibrant, chaotic tree that seemed to breathe. I looked at him, asleep in his messy little nest. He hadn't woken me. He'd just worked until he collapsed. A strange, protective instinct I hadn't felt in a very long time welled up in me. He looked cold. My first thought was, the staff lounge has blankets. But my second, faster thought was that I didn't want to leave him. I took off my own perfectly folded charcoal gray cardigan, the one I kept on the back of my chair for when the ASC got too high, and gently draped it over him. It looked ridiculously neat and gray against his paint-splattered t-shirt. I sat down on the floor, a few feet away, my back against the circulation desk. I was too tired to drive, too wired to sleep. So I just watched over him. I sat in the silence, in his mess, and I just watched him sleep. He woke up with a jolt, just as the first, pale gray light of dawn started to filter through the glass ceiling. He blinked, disoriented, and then his eyes found me. "Simon," he said, his voice a rough, sleepy mumble. He sat up, and my cardigan puddled in his lap. He looked at it, confused. "Is this cashmere?" "It's a merino wool blend," I said, my voice just as quiet. I was mortified. I had been caught. He ran a hand over his face, scrubbing away the sleep. "What time is it?" "Almost 6. We've been here all night." He looked at the cardigan in his lap, then at me. A slow, gentle smile spread across his face. A real smile, not the manic, charming one. "Did you tuck me in, man?" My face was on fire. "You looked cold." "I fell asleep at the desk." "You finished the wall." He stood up, stretching, his body unfolding like a cat. He looked at the mural, then at me. "It's good, right?" I swallowed. "It's magnificent, Run. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." "Yeah," he said, still looking at the wall. "It needed the quiet, I think, to finish." He turned back to me. "Thanks. For staying." We just stood there in the huge, silent atrium, the morning light hitting the mural and exploding the colors across the floor. The tension that had defined our entire relationship was gone, replaced by this strange, shared, exhausted intimacy. "I made coffee," he said, nodding to his thermos. "It's probably terrible, but it's hot." He poured a cup into the plastic lid and handed it to me. I took it. It was terrible. It was strong and bitter and absolutely perfect. The next day, he came back to clean up his gear. The library was open, back to its normal, whisper-quiet self. But it felt different. The massive, vibrant tree on the wall had changed the energy of the whole building. It had brought life into my sterile sanctuary. I found Ren rolling up his tarps. I was holding something in my hand. You left this," I said, holding out his paint-splattered hoodie. He'd used it as a pillow in his beanbag chair. I had folded it. I don't know why. "Oh, thanks," he said, taking it. Our fingers brushed. "So that's it?" I asked, feeling a ridiculous, hollow sense of loss. The chaos was leaving. "That's the gig," he said, zipping up his duffel bag. He shouldered it, and for a second, he just looked at me. "Hey, Simon?" "Yeah. You were right. About the music. It was too loud." I smiled. "No, it wasn't. I think maybe I'm starting to like it." It was the bravest thing I'd said all year. Ren's grin was back, but this time it reached his eyes. "Good. 'Cause I was wondering if you wanted to come with me to a show tonight. A friend's band. It's gonna be loud. And messy. And probably not on any kind of schedule." I looked at the mural, this beautiful, chaotic thing he had brought into my life. And I looked at him. And I made the first impulsive, unplanned, uncatalogued decision of my new life. "Yeah," I said. "I'd like that a lot."